I mean, I could probably count on one hand hangovers, and which is
You
dangerous.
count on two hands normally, though.
Sabotaged me and told me to go into the left door. And so I go in with my towel over my arm, like flip-flops, and my little Byrd bag, shower bag, and just walk straight into the strip club. And I'm just like, this doesn't look right. But I mean, I just wanted to make sure my leg lamp is shown.
Hey, this is Party Like a Rockstar podcast, and I'm your host, Joel. Today's episode is brought to you by Misha's Cain Foods. They're an LA-based small business making the world's finest non-dairy cheese on the market today. They're lactose-free, paleo, keto, kosher, Parev, and 100% vegan. If you like what you see, check out the next video. If you like this video, please subscribe and like by clicking the little round button on the bottom right. To learn more about me or other guests on the show, go to joelrody.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. The handle is Joel Rohde. If you haven't already read my book, Memoir of a Roadie, it's now available through Amazon and paperback Kindle or as an audiobook. I hope you enjoy the show.
There's been band members I've toured with for years that somebody will call me Chad, and they're just like, who the fuck is Chad? And
oh, yeah. Well, it's funny, too. You'll be sitting there, and they'll be like, that's your fucking name, bro? And they'll be like, yeah, I've known you for like 8 years. Yeah, I didn't know that was your name. It's interesting, man. Have you ever opened up your itinerary?
Yeah.
No. All right.
Shows up, and here we are.
Harrison Ruhl is an audio engineer and crew chief. He's worked for Carlos Santana, Deadmau5, Harry Connick Jr., and Gabriel Iglesias. Chad Byrd is a front of house sound engineer. He's toured with New Politics, Mike Posner, Postmodern Jukebox, Daughtry, the Doobie Brothers, Adam Lambert, Dwight, Yoakam, the Struts, and Porter Robinson. First question is to Chad, and I'm wondering if when you were with Mike Posner, did you guys actually do a show in Ibiza?
I did not. I think maybe there might have been a very early on DJ-ish show long before I got with them, but no, we did not do Ibiza. Or Ibiza, whatever it is. But
did I say it wrong?
I don't know. It depends on where you're from, I guess. But
Harrison's tuning out.
he's gone. Harrison's
fucking amateur. He doesn't even know where it is. I actually don't. Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, no.
Either. Nope. No frame of reference.
I was with them for about a year and a half, and I think they did like a Demi Nick Jonas tour like right before I came on, and then I finished out the album cycle with them.
All right, all sounds boring. Want to know about Ibiza? Yeah. Harrison,
what's up?
What do you got? All right, so actually, how do you guys know each other?
We first met at the Santana Doobie Brothers tour. That was pretty damn fun. I was starting off as a fly tech on that one, then took over as systems engineer, and basically was hanging out stage left, talking shit, and pretty much every day finding something else to make fun of about the crew of the band, or just finding something to either complain about or like asking the golden question, where the fuck is catering?
Oh, for sure. I had a friend who worked for Santana, and he would say everything was like I don't know, what's the word, like an analogy. He was like, you are the pancakes on my table. And
it sounds like a Bob Higgins move, a video director. Yeah, Bob has been with Santana for a long time. He's an absolute hilarious guy. Real short, stereotypical New Yorker, but can cut a show like a motherfucker. He's very good at what he does. Oh. But almost half the time he'll come up with the strangest analogy. So that's why he came to mind immediately.
What was the other one? There was a couple they told me. I thought they were hilarious. They're amazing. Just like, what the hell? How much do you like pancakes? You're like the girl in that Stranger Things TV show. She eats pancakes. That's the deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to mention TV to you guys.
Oh, no. I'm out of touch with a lot of different like Netflix shows. My wife and I, well, my wife just had the kid, so I've been in dad mode for quite some time. So I'm way behind in a lot of Netflix right now.
How old's your kid?
He's 4 months old.
Oh, dude, tiny.
Oh yeah, he's just finding his voice. He's a blast to hang out with. So I can't wait. He loves guitars too, so that's pretty damn cool. He listened to Queen. As soon as Brian played his guitar, his eyes just lit up. So I was like, all right, maybe we got a guitar player someday. Who knows?
Yeah,
gotta hope not.
But yeah, circling back to meeting Byrd over there, like it was the entire crew was a great hang. The Crewbie Brothers, kind of their nickname for the crew. It was just cool to see two crews just actually like meld really well together. Because sometimes things can be standoffish between some teams. Other times you get along really great. I was just grateful that everyone in that entire team, it was just like we picked up we were best friends or something like that, and everyone got along very well.
You're looking for work, aren't you?
What's up?
Are you looking for work right now? You're being way too nice.
No, he keeps turning down all the work I send him.
Oh,
I've been fortunate. I've been very fortunate to be busy. So hopefully it stays that way. I'm just a nice person, I guess. Maybe I'm not a grumpy roadie, so I don't want to be a grumpy roadie.
it will happen
With time.
There'll be a change.
I'm getting there.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. I mean, after COVID, the first 6 to 9 months, everything was rainbows and smiles, and the worst catering is amazing and everything's incredible. And I'm sliding back into where the fuck is my hands?
They're in catering.
Non-existent. They're yeah.
All right. So how did you guys get going? So let's start with you, Chad, if that's cool. Did you go to school, or what did you do to get, and then why'd you pick sound? And I like your speaker array there, I
yeah. My story is basically I played drums in a horrific, shitty local band out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Called? What's the band name?
Oh God, there was multiple. Some I can't say on this. The worst named one was "Save the Last Bullet." About as emo as you can possibly get back in the day. But and there's a few more. But I knew I wasn't good enough to be like a real touring drummer. So I was just walking past a bar that I lived next to one day, and there's a flyer that says sound engineers wanted, and I was like, well, shit, I can do that, and that was for a company called PSS out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And
better than crawling by the bar, by the way.
Oh God. Well, I lived in a band practice room with 7 other people literally next to the bar. And it was fucking gnarly in there. But I just knew I needed something to do with my life. And so I called them, and I was with them for 10 years, and they really.
So how old were you though when you started?
I was 18. I was out of high school. I knew I would never go to college, and luckily I didn't. No student debt. And at the time they didn't. Nice. They had like the Full Sail program, and they had a few others, but they were kind of in their infancy, and they didn't really have a lot of like respect, or maybe that's the wrong word, but a lot of credit, in the industry. So I, took an opportunity to learn and get paid at the same time. And
you were mixing at that bar.
So eventually, yeah. I mean,
You couldn't drink in the bar, but you were working there.
Well, couldn't drink is a little bit of but it's Louisiana in 2005 or 6. They didn't give a shit.
So from Sgambellone, it was the same. His mom would have to drive him there because he didn't have a license to go.
Jesus.
Right, Mom, see you after the gig.
Mom. Pick me up in the minivan. But
oh, that's funny.
Yeah, man. So I just I worked my way up, did everything from bar, restaurants, and weddings, all the way up to front of house stadium gigs at Tiger Stadium and Superdome, and a lot of arena gigs, a lot of theater gigs, just all over the map. And it kind of gave me a really good spectrum of gigs and of gear, and it was a really good learning experience. And I still talk to them to this day, and I love those guys. And there was eventually a point where I had always, my entire life, I had an uncle who was a roadie and a DJ and a band member and all kind of stuff. And I grew up with seeing him, and literally my whole life I just wanted to live on a tour bus. And so after about 10 years at the sound company, I kind of got to a point where I was stagnating a little bit, and then that's when I jumped into touring. I finally got my shot. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Is your uncle still around?
No, he passed away in my late teens, But he's the one that gave me my first soundboard. It was a little Carvin MX 1222 or something, and a old piece of shit beat up drum kit, and
Nice.
my first rack, just like roadie shit, So yeah.
Who did he tour with?
To be honest, I don't know. That was like in the 80s, and it could have been a local bar band for all I know. And unfortunately, he's not around for me to ask, so I kind of lost the story of it. But I do remember whenever I was very, very young, he had some sort of gig in our local arena, and I went and saw him and got to go backstage and stuff, and that kind of concreted me wanting to travel the world and play with expensive sound gear.
That's a good one. What do you got, Harrison? How'd you get going?
I started, I really picked up a first soundboard at 15. It was at a local church back in the day. There was no one else to run sound for any of like the smaller events. And so it was just kind of like, all right, here you go play with it. You seem to like to hang out with all the audio gear, because I would hang out at a recording studio in high school. One of the guys that was there, it's Azmyth Recording Studios in Indianapolis. They're still there to this day. Ryan Adkins is the guy that owns it. Just probably one of the coolest guys I could have met in high school. Just kind of took me in the whole studio process, taught me live, taught me studio. I'll never forget, they had a 1976 analog MCI console that was,
Nice.
Dude, it sounded so great. I really enjoyed learning on that particular gear. So then from high school, kind of just turned into kind of like Chad or Byrd, excuse me. I've cussed on here. So it turned into doing like bar gigs. I was like, man, $75 to run sound. Hell yeah, let's go.
Dude.
At the end of it, they were like, all right, we know you're not 18 yet. You're not 21. Here's like a half shot of Jack Daniels. Here you go, kid. Like, don't tell anybody. So I really loved kind of cutting my teeth on that. But I was also, I've done music for a long time. I started playing piano when I was 5 years old. The time I left high school and college, I could play multiple instruments, and I just loved it. So music has really always been there. College, I got my degrees, but I'm not using them, obviously. Parents love that.
What was your degree?
Degrees. I have a degree in biology and chemistry.
Oh yeah, totally roadie stuff.
I know. I know. When I every once in a while when I interviewed when I had a chance to work for Clearwing up in Milwaukee area, they were like, "What are you doing? Like, you have these degrees. Why are you here?"
It'd be funny, the universities, they send you those pieces of paper. What are you doing with your life? Are you making money? And you're like, just write in there in like big crayon, "I'm roadie." I had an 86 Toyota pickup truck that was like 30 colors, and I wanted to put on the back around the license plate, "Proud graduate of UC Santa Barbara."
There's still time.
Sorry.
There's still time.
There is still time. I have to get the truck again. Now I can't afford it.
You could put like a "donate to my student loan fund" on the back of it or something.
There was no back.
Everyone's got to GoFundMe these days. I'm sure we can scrounge up something for you.
We'll figure it out.
So college was same thing, just running sound at bars, at university events, still working at the same recording studio.
So while you're in school, you're doing this.
Yeah.
And did you think that you were going to jump ship from chemistry and whatnot to do this for real, or?
No, I was pretty hell bent on being a chemist. But as I continued, I honestly, I got really burned out from the studying aspect of it. Like, it's still cool. It's still really cool shit. I love the sciences, tremendous amount of respect for it. But like, the amount of studying that these folks just keep up and live and breathe it, like, my heart wasn't in it, but my heart was always in music. And I knew, thankfully, my parents were supportive enough that when I told them I was still making money off the recording studios and the gigs, they were like, "You got to go after what you love." And I appreciated that support. Like, that was a really cool move on there. And so it pushed me into just kind of working my way into where I'm at now. Which is having the chance to work on some larger tours, mixing monitors for some bands.
You do like the baking soda volcano on tour?
Man, no, I haven't done that. That would be
Byrd.
That
we need to get on that.
There's a lot of talent here that's not being used.
So I mean, you could go into Pyro.
Oh my gosh, that's the Pyro still scary. I mean, that shit scares me. No joke. I stay away from that as much as I can.
I had Pyro, Pete, and John Watkins on here, and that was an interesting one because
God, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, we had a festival last year that we had some pyro on that, it's all supposed to go up and it just went every way but up. And
Oh
one
God.
wound up in the production office and just chaos.
Shoot.
Not Pyro Pete. Not Pyro
No.
No. Unnamed source.
Pete. Good. Yeah. All right. So,
Yeah, so that's how I got here. Just kind of one gig led to another, to more experience and just meeting other cool people along the way that were kind enough to offer me more opportunities to do what I'm doing now. And I love it. I really do love what I do. I don't miss any of the hard studying or any of like the 8-hour lab days. Instead, I'm just working 22 hours straight. So what's the big difference?
so if the kid stops liking guitar and wants to be a chemist, are you gonna be pissed off?
Honestly, if he just grows up to learn to treat other people well and love others at the end of the day, I don't care what he does. I just want him to be
Dude, you're
happy.
so nice. How the fuck?
I know
Really?
he's an actual freak, and this is why I try and keep him around to balance out all the assholeness.
Man, I just picture you all day like, sorry, sir, didn't mean to trouble you.
Yeah, were you born in Canada?
Sorry, young stage man.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
No, I was born in Indiana in the middle of a damn cornfield about near.
I just think Field of Dreams. I don't know. Not that it was shot. But...
I was thinking more Children of the Corn, but
Oh, hey.
Oh, what's that one with Justin Long? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Jeepers Creepers 2. How did I come up with that one? Anyway.
So I was thinking one today was, have you noticed that since we're talking about etiquette and stuff, people like don't chew as much gum as they used to when we were kids? Have you noticed that?
I personally do.
I chew gum all the time. So oh yeah.
I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes, and I would chew a piece of gum for every cigarette that I smoked. And I'll still, even though I've quit, I'll still chew a lot of gum. Actually, I almost got in some trouble over gum. I was with Daughtry and still smoking at the time, and I couldn't have a cigarette without a piece of gum. So we did this Asian tour, and I brought 40 packs of gum with me. And it turns out we had a show in Singapore, and they don't really love gum over there. So I had to smuggle gum in. And if you get caught throwing it on the ground, you go to prison.
Oh yeah, you're in trouble. So they don't even let you bring it in. They'll confiscate.
Very controlled. You're supposed to have at most one pack, and I had 35 at that point.
Whoa, you're a horrible person, you.
Oh, I know. I had to smuggle it in a guitar case or something.
Wow, it's you and that basketball lady.
From Russia.
Yeah, she might have a worse time than you right now.
I would imagine she does. Yeah.
Imagine that one. They'll be like, and this fucking guy Byrd, this roadie guy, he brought in 70 cases of bubble gum, and the president's like, fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him, lager.
Well, there's a one posted somewhere with your ass on it.
Oh, probably. So they're probably
never go back.
Countries at this point.
See, I was thinking that I haven't stepped in gum in a lot of years. I didn't even think about it. And then I was at the bar the other day. I know, go figure. But I'm at the bar and I didn't see a bunch of gum underneath the tables and stuff. I'm not going to tell you what I was doing under the tables, but I just was thinking,
maybe just people are less shitty about gum placement nowadays, or
I don't know.
They're listening to Harrison. It's manners.
Yeah,
maybe. Or either that, or during COVID, they actually had time to clean everything up, so they finally got rid of it.
I don't believe it.
So, what kind of crazy? Have you guys got any stories of crazy gigs, especially in the early years where you're setting up sound at a place where you're looking around, you going how the hell are we seriously going to play this?
Dude, I'm from Louisiana and I worked for a sound company. I have a billion stories about driving, giant box trucks through the French Quarter and doing gigs in the middle of swamps and just chaos, absolute chaos, man.
Did you have beads in the box truck?
Beads? Oh, why did my brain go to some beads that we shouldn't talk about? Anyway, no, just sound gear.
Where the placement of the beads was up top or down below?
Well, it depends on what side.
Okay, now we're all right. You got any particular venues that come to mind or no?
I mean, no, but I do have one funny story with Santana.
Heard of him? Heard of that guy?
Oh, really? Not very many people have, but
Yeah.
we were doing this, I don't know, amphitheater somewhere, and I was running monitors for the Doobie Brothers, and we had sat up right next to Brian and Santana's monitor world, and Santana, like, he didn't use in-ears, he just used wedges, and I think he tried in-ears a few times, and we were all ears. So I would hand him a pack and some generic, Roxanne, JH in-ears every day. And, he would just kind of take my chair and just sit, off to the side and just kind of jam out, and all this. And one day he got a little, bold, and he grabbed the talkback mic just to kind of jokingly sing into it, but he flipped the switch. So the entire band at full tilt, here's Santana just like half singing the words. And you just see the whole band just go like, what the fuck is that? And I couldn't just be like, Carlos, put the mic down. So I had to go like scramble and like go through like 5 layers in the console to try and find the talkback and like mute it on the console. But
it would have been great if he was like just starts singing the Itsy Bitsy Spiders.
Oh yeah.
And you're kind of like,
yeah,
what happened?
Tom was just like, man, what the hell was that? I'm like, dude, that was Santana. He's like, oh, all right. Just kind of let it go.
That's the best excuse you could have had in your back pocket, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my god.
What's your one, Harrison? I heard you
Man,
say you had one.
White Oak Music Hall in Texas. I had the opportunity to be out with Morrisey and Interpol at the time, and flying into it, I flew into the middle of tropical storm or Hurricane Irma at the time. So not only was the flying situation just absolutely rough, I had to fly. We were redirected. That airport was surrounded by water. Like the entire airport was not just flooded, but the surrounding area was completely flooded. There's one street to get out of there. So I somehow was able to get out of that. We get to the venue, and because it's outdoors at a pretty steep incline, the water, so much water had come down. It had eroded a pretty decent amount of the structure under the stage. So all of us are showing up with our trucks going, all right, we know we got some pretty heavy shit that's coming up this ramp. And we're sitting here going, there was like anywhere from a foot to 6 inches of just air between the bottom supports and the stage. There's stage hands taking pieces of wood and just hammering it underneath. And they're just going, yeah, that'll hold it. That'll be good. We're all just going, there's just no way. There's just absolutely no way. So we're trying to figure out how we can get out of the show, because it's like, how can we guarantee the stage is good? They brought out an engineer, and the engineer guy, literally, like, we were questioning him. He looks at some of they're piling dirt, mud, hammering more wood underneath of it. And he hits it there, and he just gives a couple of things a good little shake, and he goes, oh yeah, that'll be just fine. Just completely instilling any confidence of like, we're about to put several thousands of pounds in the air. This is absolutely awesome. And at the end of it, so we go through loading in just one of the worst hot days, only to have the entire show canceled. Morrisey had pulled another cancellation at that point in time. So we, at that point, unloaded everything. And of all things, the entire stage, it held, but one of our truck ramps snapped in half.
Oh.
It was a 16, it was only, thankfully it was only a 16-foot floor dance ramp, and the gear that did fall. But man, talk about like the nerve wracking of like, hey, all right, you got to put a bunch of PA up on a stage where literally someone just like would just gently shake. That was probably one of the scarier stage moments. I'm like, I don't want to be in this scenario, but thankfully the show canceled. So most of my stories, I don't have too many crazy stories. I try to avoid most of the craziness, or I get out of there if I can.
Yeah, that's a good one though.
And I've had just some of the dumbest things. I've had people using screwdrivers as like line array pins. I've had I've had one time I asked for cable ramps, and they gave me one of like a 6-foot piece of those like office little cable trays, and so I just like laid it on top of it, and it's like, all right. Oh man, in Arizona we did a gig with Porter where the forklifts were just stuck to the axles, in sand. I mean, it's just, yeah, there's a million shitty venues, and you got to make it happen every time, you know?
I do remember a particular incident with I had the opportunity with Mr. Iglesias, Fluffy. A lot of folks know him as. We just had a simple travel day. A lot of people know Dave, his bus driver. Dave is exactly who he says he is. He's a very straight, blunt, just crass, but absolutely hilarious guy. Very good bus driver. We had a day drive. So obviously the crew's hanging out in the crew bus, having their drinks, doing their partying, just enjoying a well-earned day off. So as we stumble back onto the bus or crawl back on the bus, maybe if Byrd was there, I don't know. We get back in the bus and we're going through the Rocky Mountains. So I wake up the next morning, you know, I roll out of bed and by the bunk, and I look over and I noticed Fluffy was in our back lounge holding both of his chihuahuas. And I panicked, like my heart panicked, because I was like, okay, I know I had a couple of drinks, but there's no way I stepped on his bus last night. There's no way I got on the wrong bus, because he's got his own thing. But it turned out
he was going to steal your wallet.
Oh my goodness. So literally I'm so confused. Like, why is our boss on the back bus? And I work my way to the front lounge and I see all the supporting comedians and comedians in the front lounge, Gabriel's manager. And I'm like, what? Why are they on our bus? No one woke us or told anything. It turns out overnight, Dave's bus had lost power. Oh. And he was able to, but keep in mind, when you're in the Rockies, there's no overhead lights. He had safely found a way to stop the bus, a testament to his driving. Absolutely. Like, he found a safe way to stop the bus, keep everyone safe. Our bus then turned around and picked everyone else back up. But like, I can't even imagine being in his shoes if you just lose power in the middle of the Rocky Mountains and you have to find a way to stop the bus.
Should have been a Volkswagen bus and there wouldn't have been.
He does own a lot of those buses. I've seen some of the photos. Those things are just, I'm not like a car guy, but I have a tremendous respect. Like, those things are slick. He's got a lot of cool
he's got
stuff.
Killer collection. It's ridiculous.
Ooh, that's
we had kind of similar-ish story on the Posner gig. We were doing a long haul.
Iglesias was in the back lounge with his chihuahuas.
yeah, he was hanging out, man.
He's everywhere, this guy.
Yeah, he just shows up on every tour that we do, man. Yeah, he's Santana's opener. But
I bring you a leg lamp.
Yeah, the leg lamp, I got a little too sauced in rehearsals on the Porter, well, after the Porter rehearsals. And I kind of drunkenly bought a $300 leg lamp. So we
why is it so expensive? What's it made out of?
It's a real deal replica, man. You know, you pay for quality. But
it looks it. It's very nice.
The entire tour last year, I had Hank Fury as my monitor tech last year, and fucking love that guy. He's a legend. And the joke is he was my leg lamp tech, because the LD Jose, I love the guy to death, but he would lose his shit if he saw the leg lamp on in monitor world and you could very clearly see it. So we would have to break it down after all the openers. So Hank would just turn into my leg lamp tech. So I would be like, you know, starting the show and you just see him like disassembling it behind me, and it had its own like little box.
He finally found a job worthwhile for him. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's been in the business forever, and finally he got a really fulfilling gig. So, but the bus thing, we were doing a like really long haul from like Nashville to Miami or something. I mean, it was a crazy long haul, and we had, you know, double driver, and all of a sudden at like 6 a.m, we pull over and everybody's just like, man, it's a little early to be at the venue. And all of a sudden Posner and, like, you know, all the crew on his, you know, all the people in his bus came on ours. We're like, what the hell? And the piston flew through the engine block, and the piston was just hanging out on the side of the road, giant hole through the engine block, and we had to cross load 2 trailers, and man, it was
Jägermeister down the gas tank. It does it every time.
So yeah, somebody wasn't happy with Ibiza, or maybe they thought that they were cooler than him.
They made it to the gig though, or no way?
Yeah, we made it to the gig about an hour late, but not bad. So
nice.
And then they got you guys another bus for the next day?
Yeah, well, I don't think it was the next day. I think we flew Posner the next gig or something, but or just ground transportation, something like that. But yeah, eventually we got another bus out there.
Serious question and maybe somewhat naive, but Iglesias, so how much crew does he need? Because he just gets up on stage and does stand-up stuff. Is there like a whole bunch of stuff on the stage with him, or?
Oh yeah, they travel with the whole set. I mean, it's a quite elaborate set too. There is a pretty decent lighting rig. So when I was had the opportunity to roll with them last time, I want to say we were at 3 or 4 semis. One of them was for merch. He's his merch team.
A semi of merch?
Oh yeah, seriously. He's really pop. His fans are really truly devout.
What is
like,
that? Just even t-shirts? After, what does he sell? Kooky stuff? Or?
Yeah, t-shirts, hoodies. He sells like Funkos. He sells like hot sauce. I mean, like his merch team is really quite creative. Like the sky's the limit for them. So because the set and the lighting stuff is so big, and also when you're doing arenas, I mean, you need a lot of PA, and for speech intelligibility in an arena. A lot of people think, oh, you don't need as much speakers as a comedian, or it's not like, and if you really want good intelligibility, you got to have a bigger, at least more PA, in my opinion. So we had a decent amount of stuff out there, and his crowds would come out swinging there. When he hit the stage, it would be, 104, 105. That's how loud the crowd would get just when he hit the stage. So you got to be above that. So yeah, he travels with a pretty big set. It's pretty cool. It really is. It's if you're not much of a stand-up person, his sets are at least once in your lifetime, just because he goes for so long. He gives everyone like their entire, like he's contract for like 90 minutes or something like that, but he goes way over because he wants everyone to get like the full.
So how much every night experience. does his act change? How many jokes are different?
You know what? There's definitely some like he has like definitely some similar jokes, but he also is pretty smart about talking like to like his crowd, like figuring out their talent, the local areas, like trying to figure out the local culture so he can make jokes about that. So he does change a lot of those things up, and he'll deliver jokes a little differently every night, and it'll catch us as a crew off guard. So we'll start laughing. I think probably the funniest thing is the poor camera ops at a Fluffy crew. Or not like the local hands. It's like every once in a while you could tell if he got a camera op rolling, because all of a sudden you just see the camera like start to shake up and down because they're laughing. And then he also like the spot ops. Like sometimes he's quick, so he will just hang out one place and he goes stage left or stage right very quickly. And every once in a while a spot op will fall asleep on him because they think it's a comedian. And when a spot op calls out, like when Fluffy calls out a spot op in front of like 30,000 people and everyone dies of laughter, they're coming down from the ladders just so salty. And it's just like, dude, you got one job. And he calls them out on it. It's pretty entertaining.
So the Zach track system.
Say again?
You guys need the Zach track system. It's a little like we used it last year where they basically put a beacon in their pocket and all the spots follow them around the stage.
Oh, no way. That's cool. I didn't know that existed.
It works, sometimes.
Oh, that's comforting.
So is he quiet when he's not working? Because I know like Steve Martin's a quiet fella, and a lot of comedians.
We really didn't have too much like exposure to him. He keeps himself, and we don't go. I'm not going to go searching for the boss. I'm going to get my gig and get out of there. But incredibly nice. The couple of times I did interact with him, he was a very genuinely kind person. Like I was very grateful to like see that someone who has done as well as he has also has his very kind and humble roots. So he's particular, but not in an out of line way. If that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. And it's interesting to hear the comedy aspects of it. It's something you don't think about in lighting and touring and stuff, is stuff outside of music. At least for me,
it was definitely kind of an odd experience to tour with. It's like we didn't really have a lot of openers. When we did Staples Center a few years ago, we had a mariachi band that opened for him before his big set, and that was a really cool experience. Like having and they were really good too. So they would just everything was wireless, so they would just walk around stage, and if somebody wasn't paying attention, they would sneak up behind the person and just play behind them and just mess with them. So the mariachi would just anyone they could make fun of or poke fun at with their music or get someone's attention, they would. It was really entertaining.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was
it all up a little. Yeah. All right, so I was going to put this podcast together. I was hanging out with my friends like you. They have little kids. One of my buddy's daughter was in 5th grade at the time, And she said I should ask every guest when they first felt famous. So I ask each of you, when did you guys first feel famous? If you don't feel you're famous, and I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, for real, what I'm saying is, when was there a pivotal part in your careers that made you excited about your career path, or some moment that really sticks out to you? What would each of you guys choose as your moment?
Harrison, you want to go first?
Sure. I definitely don't feel famous, but I do recognize that our work has a pretty significant impact on some people's lives. I mean, some of these people's artists, they're absolutely like crazy about. One of the guys that works at the barbershop that I go to, he and his dad absolutely love Carlos Santana. And so when they asked what I do, and through further conversations, they found out that they love that. So to me, that was like a cool moment of realizing that kind of impact. I was kind of like Tim, the guitar tech for Carlos, he's been for a while. I have several picks of his, and I mean, picks are dime a dozen for gentlemen like us. But when I gave him one of those picks, like, he started tearing up. And he's just like, I can't wait to give this to my dad. This is gonna, like, I mean, he's been listening to his dad, he's been listening to his music for so long. So that to me was like one of the cooler moments of realizing that even though we don't necessarily see the direct fame level, and I don't think honestly most of us want to, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But it's still really damn cool to know that, you know, something as simple as like a pick just completely just changed someone's day around. That was pretty cool for me. And that's what made me realize like this was a good place to be.
And yet you wear your hat. You don't even show his awesome work.
I'm supposed to go to the barber tomorrow, so I'm hiding for a reason.
Luckily, I don't have to worry about that now.
Oh, we have the same problem. What about you, Byrd? But when did you feel?
There's been a few markers. I would definitely not say I'm famous by any means. But
you got a cool lamp.
Yeah, the lamp is way more famous than I am.
Yeah. Where did you pack it? How did you get it home without damaging it?
They came with like,
good question,
2 boxes that
I've been doing research,
really stout, and we just gaff taped the shit out of it every night. And but that's actually the same light bulb that, you know, whenever I got it.
Bullshit. No way.
Just stole it out of a lamp out of like sound check or mates or wherever we were. And yeah, that light bulb has survived, and that's not an LED either. But
wow, I'm waiting for it to go out right now.
Yeah, no, yeah, right now. No, Hank Fury, he took care of it, man. But no, as far as level of success, I mean, one was certainly when I told my dad that I was going to be working for the Doobie Brothers, and he freaked out. I mean, he's a huge fan, and letting my uncle and my dad and my mom and just a lot of my close family meet some of the guys and go backstage. That was really cool. A pivotal point a little earlier than that was I was working for Postmodern Jukebox, and although they're not a huge name, they do have a very big following. And I mean, one of the moments was realizing that I was going to do 6 continents in 1 year, with those guys. And I mean, we toured all over the world, and getting to have my birthday in Australia, and have an Australian bartender cut me off, and crazy stories. And
you off on your birthday?
Oh yeah. No,
Aussies drink till they like die. I mean, how'd that happen?
Yeah, I managed to from the little I remember, I managed to drink, I think, like 21 cocktails in 6 hours. And I got kicked out because I tripped over some sort of table and busted an coffee table, or so I don't know. I remember that they cut me off and told me to get the hell out. But that wasn't a big pivotal moment, but it was just, it's a cool story. And
yeah, I love it when you piss off Aussies. Those are good stories.
Yeah, but I mean, getting to work with people that, you say, oh yeah, I worked with, Adam Lambert or something, which I only worked with him very briefly.
Did you have to load in the next day after Aussie Day?
No. Are you talking about the Australian day?
Yeah. Did you get the day after your birthday? Was it a load?
Probably. Yeah. It's Postmodern Jukebox. They don't take days off, really.
Ooh, that must have been a rough day at the office.
Yeah, I have a natural weird gift that I don't get hangovers. I mean, I could probably count on one hand hangovers, and which is dangerous.
You count on two hands normally, though.
It depends on what I've been drinking, but yeah, I don't know. There's a few, doing Red Rocks, or doing some of the big, like, iconic venues, Sydney Opera House, and just the big cool venues. You just walk in and go like, man, this is fucking cool. This is really cool. So yeah, not necessarily one particular time of thinking, oh shit, I made it, but just a lot of little things of like, man, there's always room to go up, but this is pretty fucking cool where I am.
Totally. With Doobies, did Michael McDonald do any of his, like, he sings backup on so much great stuff that you don't think about, so not to be
so with Doobies, we were, I worked with them for a little while, and we were planning this, the big mega 50th anniversary tour where Michael was going to come out. And I'm not 100% on these details, but from my knowledge, Michael and Tom have never toured together, to my knowledge. Tom started with the band, and in 1987 at LSU PMAC auditorium, he had to fly home due to medical reasons. Then Michael came in, and then he was with them for years. And then I think they took some sort of hiatus, and Tom came back. But other than a few corporate gigs and a few things here and there, to my knowledge, they've never toured together. So we had planned this huge arena tour, big sheds, and then we were in Vegas, and COVID, everything hit, and we didn't do anything for 2 years. And when it was time to get rolling again, I had another offer, and I went ahead and took it. But I love those guys to death. Tom, Tom's wife sends me a Christmas card every year still. I love all the guys to death. They're fantastic dudes. I need a little bit of a transition, and it worked out. But so I've only actually done, I think, 2 gigs with Michael.
Oh, okay.
A short story. So.
Yeah, it's good. I saw your guys' Facebook as I was doing my research. One of you guys had a real low-key wedding. was it you, Harrison? I think. What's like? Are you the one in Italy? Was that your one?
No. Byrd got married in Italy.
Oh, me.
Shit, bro. Like, what the like?
Well, I mean, for one, there are. I always tell everyone it's a job of extremes. The highs are extremely high, the lows are extremely low. There's a lot of perks to the job, and one perk is a lot of Delta miles, and a lot of traveling. And me and my wife, the very first thing that we talked about was travel. And she's traveled all over the world, and so we just decided, instead of doing the 150 person in a church and then wedding reception, we're just gonna bring like 15 people to Italy. And
so you flew all those people out with your miles?
No, God, no. I wish. No, it was.
I want to be your friend.
A fat stack of miles.
No, that would be impressive.
Bank account of miles.
But no. Basically, everybody paid for their own way there, and then we subsidized like some, a lot of the activities and the villa. We rented a giant villa, and I mean, you can keep it or not, or take it out, but it was less than what most people pay for a normal standard wedding, or at least equivalent. And then we went on a 1.5 week cruise in the Mediterranean, and then we went to Venice and Rome, and we went all over the place, man. It was absolutely amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's some killer photos, man. Some really killer photos you guys had.
It's definitely a perk of touring is, travel is easy once you've done it enough. It's not as daunting, not as scary. And basically I played tour manager to the whole wedding, but it was absolutely fantastic, man.
Oh, the joke at my wedding was I was the production manager for it. So 100%. But I enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed planning our wedding, because like my wife Jenna, she like on the logistics and planning side of stuff, like she's good at that, but because of our involvement, she was like, just go for it. If you like this, and she knows I can do it. I genuinely enjoyed it. So that was the joke for us, found sound. She handled the decoration, everything else, but literally I put day sheets out for everybody. Like I actually made it look like a show day sheet too, just for grins, because everyone knows what I do.
We had
one of my best
itineraries. Everybody called me Dad Chad. I put out itineraries. We had, budget meetings. And it was great.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys' time. If you have any other stories, you're welcome to share them.
I'll tell. I do have some stories, but they can't be aired.
Okay, no problem.
But
I got a good one that I think will be pretty cool. You talk about cool moments that like just kind of like make you really reflective on how lucky we are to do what we do. And Byrd was there for this. It was the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. And
yes, that was so cool.
Brothers and Santana. Like when I say that there was like energy in the air for the 50th anniversary, because it was built up really well. It was two obviously original bands playing 50 years later. That was like
on the day.
The funniest thing is like we loaded in and it was like we were like a bunch of schoolgirls on the first day. We were like, oh my gosh, what do we do? This is the 50th. We were it's like we were halfway through the tour. We all know what we're doing, but we were all just like we were so excited. It was like we had forgotten our jobs like halfway. They're like, okay, all right, get your head out of your ass. We still got a show to do. So, but when both those bands came out and played, like I've never seen a crowd so responsive, just into it. Like that was, to me, like full circle. I was like, that was a pretty damn incredible moment to be a part of that at the end of the day. Because that's a little bit of rock and roll history right there. And to know that,
sure it is.
I mean, that's a very small thumbprint on that for me, but it was like, that's pretty damn cool. I'll remember that one. That'll be something hopefully I can share with my boy Fletcher someday. So
100%.
Yeah. Beats Byrd's stories that he's not allowed to tell us.
I will tell you. It's, you got to cut it out.
All right, it's a deal.
I want to hear the story though. I kind of want to hear what the hell this is, because
you can't air this one. I was on the Posner tour and we played a venue in Detroit, and it was right next to a strip club. I mean, literally door to door. And Chris Cain, who's was a guitar player for Bad Wolves, and he's been Posner's guitar tech for years. That motherfucker, in the morning, I have to take a shower. It's my one weird like road thing, and it's called the Byrd bath. Everybody knows about it. The load in will not start without the Byrd bath. And that motherfucker Chris Cain basically sabotaged me and told me to go into the left door. And so I go in with my towel over my arm, like flip-flops, and my little Byrd bag, shower bag, and just walk straight into the strip club. And I'm just like, this doesn't look right. But I mean, all right. And finally I realized fuck. So like I come out of there, I'm like, Cain, motherfucker.
That's really good though. That's really good.
Yeah, the bouncer was just like,
he had to have been so confused. Just like,
I mean, I guess you can go in. Like, yeah, it's Detroit, so they certainly didn't ID me. But yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
That's funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Really I've been fortunate enough to, be a part of, following in the artists to really cool after show nightclub things. Oh, I was doing a gig for Adam Lambert, and we were in Manila, and we did like the world's largest glass dome or something like that. It was a private party, and man, they were just like, hey, just put whatever you want on the room, like everything's open. It's a corporate gig.
Nice.
So I mean, we're like, dude, are you sure, man? Like, they're like, dude, go wild. I'm like, are you sure? Like, all right.
I tell you about Australia.
So yeah. So I went straight to the lobby and bought a pair of Ray-Bans. And then I got a haircut back when I had hair. And then like we went on some decadent meals. And then after the gig, there was this huge after party where they were just anything you want. So we were just turning up bottles of Dom and like,
Oh, nice.
the most expensive shit we could ask for. And they just brought it out. No problem, man.
That's not a
Cool.
bad place to be.
Yeah, not a bad place at all.
Cool.
Fringe benefits. Need them. Otherwise, you become a chemist.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one wants that.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe by clicking the round button on the bottom right. To learn more about me or the guests on the show, go to joelrohde.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. The handle's Joel Rohde. And don't forget, when you party like a rock star, don't be a dick.